I'd given my life to this place, 14 years of stitching up paws, soothing scared pets, and earning the trust of their owners. But sitting across from a guy in a suit who didn't know a Labrador from a lamppost, I felt my world tilt. He tapped his tablet like it held all the answers and told me my career, my passion, was worth 60% of what it used to be. Just like that. Nothing personal, he said. Just business. My name's Emily Carter, I'm 41, and I'm a veterinarian in Lexington, Kentucky. That moment, in that cramped office, was the first crack in everything I'd built. It was also the spark that lit a fire I didn't know I had. I'd started at Maple Grove Animal Clinic right out of vet school, a small practice where I could name every pet and their quirks. Over the years, I helped turn it into something special, a place where people brought their dogs, cats, even rabbits, because they knew we cared. I trained the staff, stayed late for emergencies, sent sympathy cards when we lost a patient. This wasn't just a job, it was my home. So when Dr. Thompson, the owner, retired and sold the place to a corporate chain called VetCore Partners, I trusted his promise that they'd keep our values alive. "They get what we're about," he'd said over dinner, all smiles. 3 weeks after the sale, I was staring at a pay cut that felt like a slap. "Employee compensation's the first area we're streamlining," said Mark Reynolds, the new regional manager, his voice smooth as his suit. "Your salary's out of line with industry standards, Dr. Carter." He didn't look up from his tablet, like I was just a number to adjust. I sat there, stunned, my heart hammering. 14 years, and this guy was gutting my life's work with a swipe of his stylus. "When does this start?" I managed to ask, keeping my voice steady. "Next pay cycle," he said, already distracted. "We need your decision by Friday." I nodded, stood, and walked out, my mind racing. A choice: take the cut or leave the clinic I'd poured my soul into. I passed the reception desk, where Sarah, our receptionist of 12 years, was updating charts. Her eyes met mine, worried. "You too?" I whispered. She nodded. 30% cut, plus fewer hours. We glanced at the waiting room, families with their pets, a kid petting a bunny, an old man with his retriever. This place was theirs as much as ours. "What are you gonna do?" I asked. Sarah sighed. "I don't know, Emily, but this doesn't feel right." She was right. It wasn't just about money. It was about everything we stood for. Back in my office, I tried to focus, but Mark's words kept looping in my head. Industry standards. Business. I'd seen what corporate takeovers did. Clinics turned into assembly lines. Pets rushed through like products. I'd heard stories from other vets, upselling tests, cutting corners on care. Was that what waited for us? For the animals I'd vaccinated as puppies, held as they crossed the Rainbow Bridge? My walls were covered with thank you cards, photos of pets I'd saved, kids' drawings taped to my fridge at home. These weren't just clients. They were family. By lunch, I couldn't sit still. I found Kevin, our newest vet, in the break room. He was 32, fresh from a corporate practice in Nashville. "You've worked with VetCore before, right?" I asked. He nodded, poking at his sandwich. 3 years. It's always the same. First, they slash pay. Then, it's efficiency, more patients, less time. Finally, they push you to sell stuff pets don't need. I leaned in. "And the care." Kevin's jaw tightened. "It's all about numbers. How many appointments, how much revenue?" I left because I got sick of recommending useless procedures to hit quotas. His words hit hard. That afternoon, between appointments, I called Dr. Thompson. He was retired now, fishing at his lake cabin, working on that memoir he always talked about. "Emily, I had no idea," he said when I told him about the cuts. His voice was heavy. "They swore they'd keep the clinic's heart. I wouldn't have sold if I'd known." I believed him. "It's not your fault," I said. "But I need to figure out what's next." He paused. "What are you thinking?" I hesitated, the idea still half-formed. "Maybe opening my own practice." Silence. Then, "You should." You've got the skills, the clients. Lexington needs a place like that. That night, I couldn't sleep. The idea of leaving scared me. Maple Grove was my life. But staying meant betraying what I'd built, what I believed in. I started researching real estate, loans, equipment costs. I called a friend who'd started her own clinic. The more I dug, the more it felt possible. By Wednesday, I knew what I had to do. This wasn't just about my paycheck. It was about the animals, the people, the trust we'd earned. I wasn't going to let Vetcor destroy that. Friday morning, I walked into Mark's office, calm but sure. He was on a video call, barely glanced up. Emily, you decided? I handed him an envelope. My 2 weeks' notice. His head snapped up, surprise breaking through his corporate mask. You're quitting? Over a market adjustment. I held his gaze. I'm starting something new. I'll make sure my patients are covered. He leaned back, studying me. I figured the techs might balk, but you? You're a senior vet. This is how acquisitions work. I smiled thinly. And this is how I work. I walked out, my heart pounding but light. The clinic buzzed as word spread. Sarah pulled me aside by the files. Is it true? I nodded. I'm opening my own place. Maple Street, maybe? Her eyes lit up. That's incredible. Kevin caught me later, between exams. Heard you're leaving. What's the plan? I trusted him enough to hint. My own practice. I'll let you know more soon. He grinned. Count me in. By day's end, Lisa, our head tech, texted me, whatever you're doing, I'm with you. As I left, Mrs. Larson stopped me in the lot, her spaniel Max at her side. I heard you're going, she said, worried. Is it true? I nodded. Wherever you end up, we're coming with you, she said firmly. That hit me deep. I wasn't just a vet to these people. I was their vet. Vetcor thought they could erase that with a pay cut, but they'd misjudged. I wasn't just leaving. I was building something better. And they had no idea what was coming. The second I handed Mark my resignation, it was like flipping a switch. I wasn't just a vet anymore. I was someone with a plan, and that plan was growing fast. But leaving Maple Grove wasn't going to be clean. Vetcor wasn't about to let me walk away quietly, and the next 2 weeks showed me just how far they'd go to keep control. Still, every step they took to push me down only made me more determined to build something better. The news of my leaving hit the clinic hard. By noon, whispers were everywhere, texts glancing my way, clients asking questions. Sarah caught me in the hall. People are freaking out, she said, her voice low. Mrs. Bennett asked if you're really gone. Said she's not bringing her cats back if you're not here. I nodded, keeping my face neutral. I'm still here for 2 weeks. Let's keep things calm for the patients. But inside, I was buzzing. That kind of loyalty wasn't something Vetcor could buy. Mark didn't waste time. By Monday, he was hovering. I'd be checking a doc's Hun's ears, and there he was, clipboard in hand, jotting notes. Efficiency opportunities, he called it. I called it spying. He emailed me a new scheduling system manual, mandatory training included, like I wasn't already halfway out the door. Then came the reminders about my non-solicitation clause, no contacting clients or staff after I left. I had a lawyer friend look it over. It's mostly smoke, she told me. Kentucky doesn't play nice with those for vets. You're fine. Good to know, because I wasn't planning to poach. I didn't need to. People were already choosing sides. Between appointments, I was working on my next move. I found a storefront on River Street, a former dentist's office with exam rooms ready to go. I signed the lease Tuesday night, hands shaking as I put my name on the line. A local bank I'd used forever approved my loan by Wednesday. Turns out, knowing your banker for 10 years helps. Equipment suppliers I'd worked with offered deals. We hate what Vetcor does to clinics, one rep told me over coffee. We're rooting for you. Every call, every deal, made River Street Animal Hospital feel real. Clients started picking up on something. You're not staying, are you? Mr. Davis asked while I vaccinated his retriever. His voice was quiet, like he was scared of the answer. I'm figuring things out, I said, careful. VetCor had installed new microphones in the exam rooms, quality assurance, they claimed. I wasn't taking chances. But Mr. Davis leaned in. Wherever you go, we're with you. That happened daily. Mrs. Carter with her parakeet, the Wilsons with their lab, they all said it. I hadn't told them anything, but word was spreading. Lexington's a small town that way. Kevin pulled me aside Thursday. They're pushing us to upsell, he said, frustrated. Told me to pitch dental cleanings for every dog over 3, needed or not. I grimaced. You going along with it? He shook his head. Not if I can help it. But it's getting tight. You really starting your own place? I glanced around, no Mark, no Mike's. Yeah, River Street. 6 weeks, maybe less. His eyes lit up. I want in. I nodded. Soon as I'm set, we'll talk. Lisa, the head tech, was next. Friday, she cornered me by the supply closet. I heard about your plans, she whispered. VetCor's cutting my hours next month. If you're hiring, I'm there. I didn't say much, couldn't, not yet, but I squeezed her arm. Stay tuned. That night, I got a text from Sarah. Clients keep asking about you. I'm drowning in calls. If you need a receptionist, I'm yours. I smiled at my phone. My team was coming together, and I hadn't even asked. But VetCor was watching closer than I thought. Monday of my second week, Mark called me in. Clients are asking about you, he said, his tone sharp. I need to remind you about your obligations. He leaned forward, like he was trying to scare me. I've told everyone I don't have plans yet, I said, cool as I could manage. I'm just finishing my time. He tapped his pen, annoyed. VetCor invested a lot in this place, Emily. We don't take kindly to disruptions. I held his stare. I'm just doing my job. That afternoon, Sarah slipped me a note, 15 client names, all asking about me. At the bottom, hire me when you're ready. I tucked it away, my mind racing. VetCor thought they could lock me out, but they didn't get it. This wasn't about contracts. It was about trust. Trust I'd earned over years of late-night emergencies, handwritten notes, saving pets when owners thought all was lost. They couldn't take that away. Tuesday, things got uglier. A new fee schedule went up in the break room. Prices jacked up 30% overnight. Vaccinations went from $40 to $60. Dental cleanings? $300 to $425. Worst was the care packages, bundled tests most pets didn't need, priced like a car payment. Jenna, a young tech, was fuming. They're making us push these on everyone, she said. Dr. Rogers got told to sell the premium package every visit. I felt sick. This was what Kevin warned me about. Profit over care. I saw it firsthand with Mrs. Evans and her cat, Tinker. She came in for Tinker's arthritis check. The new rules said I had to push a full blood panel, $500, when we'd done one 2 months ago, all clear. Is this necessary? Mrs. Evans asked, her voice tight. She was on a fixed income, careful with every penny. I hesitated. The new owners set standard protocols, I said, choosing my words. But honestly, Tinker's fine for now. We can wait. She relaxed, grateful. Mark didn't. He walked into the exam room before I finished, all smiles for Mrs. Evans. I'm Mark Reynolds, regional manager, he said. Then he launched into a pitch, early detection, pet health, a special discount that still cost too much. I watched Mrs. Evans cave, guilt into it, her hands clutching her bag. After she left, Mark turned to me. When we set a protocol, Emily, you follow it. I didn't blink. Those tests weren't needed. You know it. He smirked. It's about consistency. You're too attached to these people. I bit back a laugh. Attached? Yeah, that's why they trusted me. By Wednesday, I found out they were reassigning my patients. I was updating Tinker's file when I saw it, transferred to Dr. Rogers, effective immediately. I checked others, same thing. They were cutting me out before I was even gone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I'd planned to leave quietly, set up my practice, then let clients know. But VetCor was playing dirty, hiking prices, pushing useless tests, stealing my patience. They thought they could bury me. At 3 a.m., I emailed my lawyer. Can we open faster? Even bare bones? Her reply came quick. With rentals and hustle, maybe 2 weeks. Call me. I closed my laptop, a plan forming. Tomorrow was my last day at Maple Grove, and I wasn't going out on their terms. Betcor thought they had me cornered, but they just pushed me to fight harder. River Street was coming, and I was bringing my people with me. My last day at Maple Grove felt like walking a tightrope. I knew what I was building on River Street, but Betcor wasn't done trying to trip me up. Every goodbye, every chart I closed, carried weight, like I was shutting one chapter and cracking open another. They thought they could box me in, but I was already moving faster than they realized. By the time I walked out that door, I wasn't just leaving. I was setting the stage for something they couldn't stop. The morning started quiet. Too quiet. I checked the schedule, only 3 appointments, when I usually had a dozen. Sarah caught my eye at reception. Mark blocked your day for transition tasks, she said, rolling her eyes. Paperwork, he says. I nodded, not surprised. They'd already reassigned my patients. This was just another way to freeze me out. Still, the staff felt it. Lisa hugged me in the break room, her eyes shiny. It won't be the same, she whispered. Even Jenna, the new tech, looked shaken. You're the heart of this place, she said. I smiled, but it hurt. This was my home, and I was being pushed out. Clients kept finding ways to reach me. Mrs. Larson slipped me a note during her cat's checkup. Heard you're going, she wrote. Tell me where. We're coming. I tucked it away, careful of the exam room mics. Another client, Mr. Perry, lingered after his dog's shots. You're not staying, are you? He asked, voice low. I kept it vague. Just finishing up here. He nodded, like he knew. Wherever you land, I'm there. Each word like that was fuel. Betcor could take my schedule, my patients' files, but not the trust I'd built. At noon, Mark called me to the conference room for what he called a departure meeting. I expected the usual, hand over my keys, sign some forms, maybe a cold thanks for 14 years. Instead, I walked in to find 2 strangers with Mark, a woman in her 50s, all sharp edges, and a guy in a tie who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. This is Ms. Harper, our regional legal counsel, Mark said. And Mr. Daniels, HR director. My stomach tightened. This wasn't an exit interview. This was an ambush. We've heard you're planning a competing practice, Mark started, his tone clipped. That violates your employment terms. Ms. Harper slid a paper across the table, a cease and desist letter, demanding I not practice within 20 miles for a year. I didn't touch it. I never signed a non-compete, I said, calm but firm. Harper didn't blink. It's in the transition documents from the acquisition. I reached into my bag, pulled out my copies. I've got everything I signed. No non-compete. My lawyer checked yesterday. Silence. Mark's jaw twitched. I leaned forward. Also, Kentucky law doesn't enforce non-competes for vets if it hurts patient care. You know that. Harper glanced at Daniels, who shifted uncomfortably. Mark tried to recover. We're not here to argue details, Emily. We just want a smooth transition for clients. Your clients, I corrected. And I want the same for their pet's sake. Daniels jumped in, softer. Dr. Carter, you've been here a long time. Maybe we can work something out. He was playing good cop, but I saw the game. What followed was 2 hours of back and forth. They pushed. I held my ground. Finally, we landed on a deal. I wouldn't solicit clients for 30 days, and they'd drop their threats. It was nothing. Clients were already reaching out, and 30 days wouldn't stop me. I signed their paper, grabbed my things, and said my goodbyes. Sarah hugged me tight. You're gonna kill it, she whispered. Lisa slipped me her number. Call me when you're hiring. Kevin just grinned. See you soon. As I walked to my car, my phone pinged. A text from Sarah. Overheard Mark on the phone with corporate. She's just one vet. How much damage can she do? I laughed, typing back, guess we'll see. I drove away, a mix of sadness and fire in my chest. Maple Grove was behind me, but River Street was real now. The lease was signed, the loan was in, equipment was on order. I'd called suppliers at dawn, locked in rentals to speed things up. My lawyer said we could open in 2 weeks if we hustled. I was ready to sprint. That night, I met Kevin and Lisa at a diner across town, far from Betcor's eyes. Over coffee, I laid it out. River Street Animal Hospital opens in 2 weeks. Bare bones at first, but it's happening. I need a vet who gets it and a tech who can run the show. Kevin didn't hesitate. I'm in. Betcor's already leaning on me to push their packages. I'm done. Lisa nodded. They cut my hours yesterday. I'm yours. I felt a rush. My team was forming, and we weren't just running from Betcor. We were building something better. The next day, I was at the new space, measuring rooms, meeting contractors. The place was small but perfect. 3 exam rooms, a surgical suite, even a waiting area with windows. Sarah called me at lunch. I'm out, she said. Gave my notice. Betcor's a mess, clients are bailing, asking where you went. I grinned. You free to start soon? She laughed. Name the day. I hung up, picturing it. River Street, alive with pets, owners, us. Not a corporate machine, but a place where care came first. Betcor wasn't clueless, though. I got a call from a colleague still at Maple Grove. They're hiking prices again, she said. And pushing those wellness packages hard. People are mad. I wasn't surprised, but it stung. Those were my clients getting squeezed. I couldn't tell them about River Street yet, not with Betcor's deal hanging over me, but I knew they'd find me. They always did. By the end of the week, I was living on coffee and adrenaline. Equipment started arriving, rentals at first, but enough to get us going. I hired a part-time tech to help Lisa, and Kevin was already studying the new software. Sarah was designing our front desk setup. Every night, I'd collapse at home. My apartment a mess of notes and plans, but I'd never felt so alive. Betcor thought they'd won by pushing me out, but they'd miscalculated. They didn't just lose a vet. They lit a match. Friday, I got a text from Mrs. Evans, Tinker's owner. Heard you're opening somewhere new. Is it true? I typed carefully, still figuring things out. I'll let you know when I have news. She replied instantly. Tinker and I are with you. I stared at my phone, my resolve hardening. Betcor could play their games, hike prices, reassign patients, throw around fake contracts. It didn't matter. I had a team, a place, and people who believed in me. River Street was coming, and it was going to change everything. The 2 weeks after I left Maple Grove were a blur of chaos and hope. River Street Animal Hospital was still just a shell, empty rooms, unpacked boxes, a dream held together by grit and coffee. Betcor thought they'd clipped my wings, but they didn't know I was already flying. Every day brought me closer to opening, and every step showed me how much I'd underestimated the loyalty I'd earned. But Betcor wasn't done fighting dirty, and I was about to learn just how far they'd go. I spent my first free morning at the new space, directing deliveries. Rental equipment rolled in, exam tables, a basic x-ray machine, enough to start small. My lawyer had pulled strings to fast-track permits, and contractors were rewiring the surgical suite. Kevin stopped by, eyeing the chaos. This is really happening, he said, half laughing. 2 weeks. I nodded. If we don't sleep. He grinned. I'm in. Lisa showed up next, hauling her own toolkit. Figured you'd need help, she said, diving into setup. Sarah called later, confirming she'd quit Maple Grove. I'm ready, she said. Just tell me when. Clients were finding me, even though I hadn't said a word. Mrs. Larson texted, heard you're opening soon. Max needs his shots. Where and when? I replied carefully, mindful of Betcor's 30-day deal. Still planning. I'll update you soon. But it kept happening. Mr. Perry, the Wilsons, half a dozen others all asking, all ready to follow. I hadn't reached out, but Lexington's rumor mill was doing the work. A community Facebook group was buzzing, Sarah told me. People are pissed about VetCor's prices, she said. They're waiting for you. VetCor wasn't blind to it. A friend still at Maple Grove called Wednesday. They're losing it, she said. Clients are canceling, saying they'll wait for Dr. Carter's new place. Mark's blaming you. I wasn't surprised, but it felt good. Too good. Thursday, I got an email from Mark himself, requesting a discussion about the local veterinary landscape. I ignored it. He wasn't my boss anymore, and I had a hospital to build. Friday brought trouble. I was unpacking syringes when Sarah rushed in, pale. Check your email. I pulled it up, a message from VetCor's legal team, accusing me of soliciting clients in violation of our agreement. They claimed I'd contacted Mrs. Evans and others, demanding I cease all communication or face a lawsuit. My heart sank. I didn't contact anyone, I said. Sarah nodded. I know. But they're spooked. Their waiting room's half empty. I called my lawyer, forwarded the email. It's a bluff, she said after a quick read. No proof, no case. Keep your head down. I tried, but VetCor's next move hit harder. Saturday, I got a call from Mrs. Evans, Tinker's owner. They told me you're not allowed to treat Tinker anymore, she said, voice shaky. Said it's in your contract. Is that true? I gripped the phone. No, ma'am. I'm free to practice. They're just trying to scare you. She paused, then, well, I'm not scared. Tinker's with you. I hung up, furious. They were bullying my clients now, using lies to hold on to what they couldn't keep. That night, I met Kevin, Lisa, and Sarah at the diner again. They're desperate, Kevin said, stirring his coffee. I heard they're offering discounts to keep people, but it's not working. Lisa snorted. Yeah, after jacking prices? Too late. Sarah leaned in. Clients keep calling me at home, asking where you are. I haven't said anything, but they're done with VetCor. I looked at them, my team, my family. We open in 10 days, I said. Soft launch, just to test the system. After that, we go big. The next week was relentless. I barely slept, splitting time between setup and planning. We trained on the new software, stocked supplies, even painted the waiting room ourselves. Kevin and Lisa were all in, working nights after their Maple Grove shifts. Sarah built a client list from memory, names and pets, no contact yet, but ready for when the 30 days were up. Every night, I'd crash at home, my table buried in notes, but I felt alive. This wasn't just a job. It was a mission. VetCor kept pushing. Tuesday, a colleague texted, they're spreading rumors you're under investigation for ethics violations. I laughed it off, but it stung. They were throwing everything at me, lawsuits, lies, gossip. Wednesday, Mark showed up at River Street, unannounced. I was testing the X-ray machine when he walked in, suit crisp as ever. Nice setup, he said, like we were friends. What do you want, Mark? I asked, not stopping. He smirked, just checking on our agreement. Wouldn't want any misunderstandings. I faced him, arms crossed. I'm following the deal. Are you? Because scaring my clients doesn't scream good faith. His smile faltered. We're protecting our investment, Emily. You're making that hard. I held his gaze. I'm just doing what's right for the animals. You should try it. He left without another word, but I knew he wasn't done. Neither was I. Thursday, we hit a milestone. The surgical suite passed inspection. I called Dr. Thompson, my old boss, to share the news. You're really doing it, he said, voice warm. I'm proud, Emily. I messed up selling to them. This fixes it. I swallowed hard. Thanks. Want to visit when we open? He chuckled. Wouldn't miss it. Hanging up, I looked around, tables set, walls painted, my team laughing over takeout. We were close. Friday, I got a text from Mrs. Larson. So your new sign on River St. looks great. Max is ready. I hadn't put the sign up yet, just a temporary banner, but it meant people were watching, waiting. Vetcorp's threats were noise now. The real signal was here. A hospital, a team, a community ready to trust me again. We'd open in days, and I'd show them all what care really looked like. But Vetcorp had one last card to play, and it was coming faster than I thought. River Street Animal Hospital was days from opening, and I could feel the momentum building. The space was coming alive, equipment humming, walls painted, my team ready to go. Vetcorp's threats were still ringing in my ears, but they were losing their grip. Clients were finding me faster than I could keep up, and I was starting to see what this place could be. But just when I thought I had the upper hand, Vetcorp threw a curveball that forced me to move faster than I'd planned. The soft opening was set for Wednesday, a quiet test run to iron out kinks. I'd only called a dozen clients, pets with ongoing needs, like Mrs. Larson's Max and his heart meds. My lawyer said the 30-day no solicitation deal was almost up, so I was careful, keeping it low-key. But Monday morning, I pulled into the lot and froze. A crowd was already there, 20 people, maybe more, with dogs, cats, even a ferret. Sarah was at the door, grinning. "Word's out," she said. They saw the banner. I stepped inside, stunned. Mrs. Wilson was there with her lab buddy. Mr. Perry had his retriever. The Garcias brought their rescue kitten. "We heard you're back," Mrs. Wilson said, hugging me. Buddy wouldn't go anywhere else. I laughed, but my head was spinning. We weren't even open, and the waiting room was packed. Sarah scrambled to log everyone in our new system, while Lisa prepped exam rooms. Kevin jumped in, checking charts. "Guess it's not so soft," he said, winking. By noon, we'd seen 30 pets. By closing, 60. Every client had a story. Vetcorp's prices, rushed visits, pushy packages. "They tried to sell me a $400 blood panel for a healthy cat," Mr. Garcia said, shaking his head. "You don't do that, right?" I met his eyes. "No. We do what's needed, nothing more." He nodded, relieved. Moments like that hit deep. This wasn't just about opening a clinic. It was about keeping a promise. Vetcorp felt the heat. Tuesday, a colleague texted, "Maple Grove's schedule is a ghost town. Mark's freaking out." I smiled but stayed focused. We had enough to handle. Training staff, stocking meds, fixing a glitchy printer. Sarah was a wizard, organizing clients like she'd done it forever. Lisa ran the back like a general, and Kevin was already winning people over with his calm vibe. My team was solid, but I knew Vetcorp wasn't done. They didn't scare easy. Wednesday morning, the real opening hit like a wave. I'd planned for 10 appointments. We got 40. People brought gifts, cookies, cards, a dog toy for the office. One kid handed me a drawing of her bunny with Dr. Emily scrawled on it. I taped it to my desk, right where I could see it. Between exams, I caught snippets from clients. "The neighborhood group chats all about you," Mrs. Larson said, Max wagging beside her. "Everyone's jumping ship." I kept my face neutral. Those mics at Maple Grove had me paranoid, but inside, I was soaring. That afternoon, trouble showed up. A man in a polo shirt walked in, no pet, just a notepad. "Health inspector," he said, flashing a badge. My stomach dropped. "We'd passed inspection last week." "Routine follow-up," he claimed, but he lingered, checking outlets, eyeing our sterilization setup. Lisa whispered, "This reeks of Vetcorp." I nodded, staying calm. "Everything's in order," I told him, handing over our permits. He left after an hour, no violations found. Sarah checked her phone later. "Friend at City Hall says that guy got a tip about concerns here." Guess who called it in? I wasn't shocked, but I was mad. Vetcorp was stooping low, trying to slow us down. It didn't work. Thursday, we hit 70 appointments. Friday, 80. We hired 2 more techs just to keep up. Clients kept coming, old faces from Maple Grove, new ones hearing the buzz. "You're the talk of the dog park," one woman said, her poodle prancing. I laughed, but it was true. Lexington was choosing us, and not because of ads. We hadn't spent a dime on marketing. It was all word of mouth, trust carrying us forward. Saturday, I got a call from Dr. Thompson. I'm in town, he said. Can I see it? He showed up an hour later, walking through with a smile that grew wider every step. Emily, this is incredible, he said, watching Lisa prep a room, Sarah greet a client. You're doing what I couldn't. I shook my head. You taught me how. This is just finishing it. He hugged me, and for a second, I felt like that new vet again, learning at his side. Keep going, he said. They can't touch this. That night, I got another email from Mark. We'd like to meet. Discuss options for mutual benefit. I stared at it, tempted to delete it. Mutual benefit? After their threats, their fake inspections? But something told me to play it smart. I replied, Tuesday, 2 p.m. My office. If he wanted to talk, fine. I'd do it on my turf. Sarah saw the email over my shoulder. What's he want now? She asked. I shrugged. Probably scared. Their loss is our gain. By Monday, we'd registered over 200 pets. My apartment was a disaster: notes, schedules, takeout boxes, but I didn't care. River Street was alive, louder and warmer than Maple Grove ever was under Betcor. Clients thanked us with every visit, some tearing up when I remembered their pets' quirks. You get it, one said, clutching her spaniel. They didn't. I nodded, but my mind was on Mark's meeting. He wasn't coming to chat. He was coming to fight. And I was ready to show him what he'd lost.